On this week's episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast, we are joined again by Cody Ritchie, the drummer for the band Goalkeeper out of Philadelphia. We talk about their latest EP, Pins and Needles. We talk about their last couple of tours, including their most recent one with Calling All Captains and the experience that they had doing that. And then it sounds like we have some new music coming out at the beginning of next year. This was really fun to have Cody back, get an update on what Goalkeeper's doing, an update on life, and keep an eye out for new music. But for now, go listen to Pins and Needles, and let's open this pit up. Somebody hit somebody! What's up, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast with me, Trevor, and Kyle. And I think you might be our first repeating guest.
This is it. This is what we're doing. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Very happy to be here for round two.
Goalkeeper. Oh, I'm so stoked. So
look, I've said a lot of questionable stuff since we've talked, and so the fact that you've come back though is just like.
Yeah, you know, I love the torture, right? You know, that's why I play in a pop punk band. So yeah, nothing too crazy there. I'm happy to be back. It's good to see both of you again. I'm ready for round two. Let's just, let's crush this. I have a good feeling.
Dude, there's a lot to talk to you guys about. You guys, so you were on in February with us. And since that time, you guys have done 2-3 tours, couple festivals. The big thing though is you guys dropped the Pins and Needles EP. That was early October. Fantastic.
Good, dude. I'm very, very happy to hear that. We have been running around what seems like most of America and a little bit of Canada, excluding some areas. It's been busy, and you know what? When I think if I remember correctly, the last time we spoke, maybe I talked a little bit about the direction of our music, or that maybe we had something new. Yeah, okay. It did sound familiar to me when I was thinking about it. The reception has been insane. It's been so good and validating to hear that other people like the direction we're going, particularly because we weren't sure exactly how fans would take it, right? We're straight up the middle pop punk bands. We decided to pick a side of the fence. And you know what? I think we took a shot on ourselves, and I think it's paying off. It's been very good.
Well, listen, I couldn't agree more. Black Hole is fantastic, but I messaged you guys when you sent it over to us. Salem Weather, incredible. All of them are great. All of them are great. But
I appreciate it.
Like Salem Weather, caught me immediately. It's such a good song.
I don't know if I mentioned it to you, and stop me if I have, but do you know what Salem that's about?
No.
Share
with us.
It's 100% definitely not Salem, Massachusetts.
Okay.
It's Salem, New Jersey. That's where I'm from.
Okay.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think I make a point to say that because no one has ever heard of Salem, New Jersey. And I also think when you type in Salem on Google, it's not even in the recommended. So somebody's got to stick a flag in the city eventually and do something here. So it's a Salem, New Jersey reference, not a Salem, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Or Oregon. I'm coming for all the rest of them. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you clarified that because it was released in October. So,
Yeah. And you know what? Also, we're big Driveways fans, and we tour with them and that kind of thing. And I feel like the association, if it's already made in my brain, somebody else is making that association. So for anybody out there who still is confused, it's New Jersey.
Well, listen, you guys still rep the Philly pop punk name, but you made it very clear that you guys have New Jersey ties. Everything that has ever happened in New Jersey, Salem Weather.
Right.
You're making sure it's known.
Yeah, good. Funny story about everything. So kind of how that title came about is we were in the studio and we were showing the song to Nick, and the bridge came up and he's listening to it and he's getting in the groove, and I think at some point, whatever it was when we were working in it, he said, "Yeah, this type of bridge can only be written by a New Jersey band. That only makes sense, right? And I was thinking about it one day when I was driving to the studio. I was like, yeah, he's right. Yeah, like everything that's ever happened, it's happened in New Jersey. And that clicked, and I was like, guys, we should probably,
Just name it.
So, yeah,
That's a good name. It
it's
really
solid.
is.
Thank you. I appreciate it. There are some of those titles that are longer. Maybe sometimes they don't click for me, but I think 99% of the time I'm a fan of them.
I mean, we grew up in the MySpace era, so
There you go.
there's
Yeah.
song titles that are like a paragraph long.
Yep. And I love them for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So my only thing about the album is, think about this. Have you heard of More Songs?
Yeah, hey, you know what? That's a good problem to have. And actually, can I offer you maybe an answer, a solution, if you will? We have more coming.
Okay. All right.
So, I think one of the biggest problems we have experienced as a band is that we do the touring, we get out there and we're writing the songs, but we're not putting enough out. Like if you look between I'm a Show Met You Sooner and Life in Slow Motion, granted life happens in between and that kind of thing, right? But also if you're a band, I feel like one of the main things you're supposed to do is put out music, right?
Yeah.
So to that fact, we're definitely putting more focus towards writing and getting in the studio and also experimenting with other writers. I think collaboration is really the key to having unique writing, because you learn from other people, right? And you pick up those little notes. And also it's great to see some perspective that you don't have, So we already have another song ready to go. It's not like ready. It's in the mixing stage. So that's something that you don't have to wait around another 2 years for. So that's awesome. And then also we are back in the studio in January and we're running it like that. To kind of cap it all, I think my thought process these days with music, EPs make a lot of sense. It's not as much pressure.
Yeah.
Financially, it's not that much of a burden. Then also, it's kind of cool to have maybe like 2 releases in a year. As a fan, why would you not want that?
Yeah, and I think you're spot on. If you've listened like historically on this podcast, I talk a lot of crap on EPs just because like bands like you guys, I love your music, right? So it's like I want more of it. But I do think, especially in situations like you guys where you've kind of evolved your sound a little bit, the EP kind of makes sense, right? Because now you can play around with stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
No.
you have more flexibility. So I was just giving you a hard time because the EP is really good. I mean, I listened to it a whole bunch since it's been out. So
when you're a fan of stuff, you're gonna want more, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I take it as a compliment. Absolutely. So in that regard, 100%. Please tell me that more.
Well, it's funny. I actually went back and I re-listened to the first episode that we did with you, and we actually had that exact conversation.
Really?
Kyle was talking crap on full lengths. We were supporting the EP, and we want out. So
consistent.
Hey, creatures of habit.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. You want what you want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So kind of just going into the EP a little bit. I mean, I know when we talked back in February, we did talk a little bit about, sound changes and things you wanted to try, but like what really drove it in this EP?
So there are two things that come to mind. The first being Mark, our guitarist. He's taken a huge interest into hardcore. I think it really started for him when we were in the studio for Life in Slow Motion, and Will showed him, Refused. What's that record?
Nice, yeah. The Shape of Punk to Come.
Yes, absolutely. That's the one. He got a taste of that, and I remember the first day he listened to it, he ended up tweeting something from it. I was like, this motherfucker does not listen to hardcore, and he's posting it immediately. However, all that to say, now he's heavily influenced by it. And it's a shade of him that he kind of wanted to put more into Goalkeeper. And honestly, me and Ryan love that kind of stuff, and we knew we had to go one way or another. So like with this EP, we decided to lean that way. And the second thing that comes to mind is that we had just written like a love story
Yeah.
album, kind of, right? And that's basically where Goalkeeper has been this whole time. It's relationships, or it's like a pump up song, feeling good. We've explored that avenue, right? We know that street. We've walked it up and down 1,000
Yeah.
times. So um, we really sat and we talked about the kind of things that we wanted to go forward talking about, and it was getting a bit more honest and a bit more vulnerable, and maybe touching on some points that Goalkeeper hasn't yet. Um, and I think that inside made the band realize we're maturing more. And so like it felt like a really good move for us. And we felt really comfortable with the kind of stuff that we were writing. Um, it just kind of made sense. So we started writing things that were more in touch with the vulnerability side. And Mark wanted to write hardcore music. Bam, you got pins and needles.
No, that's great. I really do like the direction that you guys have taken. This feels like the direction that a maturing pop punk band typically takes, right? You have different avenues to go. You can lean into the more hardcore stuff. You can lean into the pop punk stuff. You can pull a Newfound Glory and you can stay in the generic pop punk your entire career kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I really enjoy the direction that you guys are going. And we talked about this when you were on here last time, but it is that development and that growth of a maturing sound, a maturing ideas on the album and stuff. Like
Mm,
one of the lines that has stuck out to me, I was listening to this album today in the car with my daughter, like picking her up from dance and stuff. And I was like, you got to tell me what you think about these guys. And she's like, I like it, you know, and she's in the back, like bouncing and stuff.
yeah.
But the line in Black Hole where you guys say, I'm afraid when the quiet comes, I won't have the answer.
Mm,
Like whether you've only had one relationship in your whole life or like you've had a couple of relationships, like
mm,
everyone's had that moment where you've had that,
good.
like you're sitting there, you're having a deep conversation, and all of a sudden they ask you a question. You're like, I don't know if you want to hear what I have to say about this.
Mm.
And it's just like, it's such a resonating thing. And
That's
I love that stuff.
truly, thank you for sharing that with me. I think it's interesting the way um, other people resonate with what you write, and it's so crazy that that's where you feel and you hear the song comes from and influences you, and versus where we came from when we were writing it. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love the way music hits people, and especially when you have a specific line to share. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. Thank you for doing that. I hope
Oh,
your daughter liked it.
she was in the back. She was bopping around. Like
She
she
goes,
enjoyed it. So
Yeah. So
exactly.
I think it speaks a lot to you guys too, though, that you talk about the maturity. I've heard Parker Cannon say that like Torn with the story so far is kind of hard for him now because he's like, I just don't relate to that music anymore. A lot
mm,
of that music was about breakups and a girl or whatever. And he's like,
yeah,
I just don't care anymore. I've moved on. And I
yeah.
think
You
that,
certainly can't blame him, right?
yeah, not at all. And I think that me too, like when I look at my music interests, like I've grown up and music to me, like should feel equivalent to where I'm at in life. So it's cool to see a
Mm-hmm.
band like you guys that like you started out with pop punk. It was very pop punky. Blink
Yes.
182 never grew up, right? And I feel like I've kind of outgrown that a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
And
you know
so,
what? There's no way you can listen to Damn It your whole life.
yeah,
Right.
And there's reasons why they wrote Adam's song. Um, when you talk about the like maturity of bands as they grow, the number one band that always comes to mind to me is the Wonder Years. Because if you look at their early stuff, and especially to where they are now, I mean, the growth is there, and you almost feel like you grow with it.
yeah,
I came into them when the Upsides was out, and I remember some kid on my bus handed me a CD, and he was like, "Dude, you have to check this CD out. They're called the Wonder Years," because that's how you learn music back then.
yeah,
Um, and to see where they are now, like that's growth. That's learning your art, and that's like honing your craft. And that's what they have done. And I think there are many bands that I could mention that have done that kind of thing. But I think when you see Pins and Needles and you see it something like Gut Feeling, you understand that, like, hey, these guys are actually taking a second and realizing how to grow as
Yeah.
musicians and artists. And it's nice that you guys have recognized that. It feels very validating. Thank you.
Oh, of course. I mean, listen, we talked about the Wonder Years a lot the last time you were on, and we can talk about them more if you would like to. But that's actually a band that actually came to mind. Maybe it was because we talked about that, but
Yeah.
what you just said, that growth, right? I remember getting the upsides as well. I remember listening to Melrose Diner and stuff along those lines, and
Mm,
just that fun, silly pop punk, right? The young
yeah.
teenage years kind of stuff. And then you listen to even the last album, Hum Goes On Forever.
Mm,
It's incredible, right?
yeah.
They're
Absolutely.
just so good. But
Yes. We
uh,
really could yap so long about the Wonder
we
Years.
could
There's no doubt. Yeah.
since
It's a shame.
since we talked to you, I got to see them again. Absolutely
Mm,
fantastic. I took videos.
good.
I'm like, I need to post this and tag Cody in it, but I didn't, so I should have. But
Yeah. For what it's worth, I would have watched.
oh well, listen, I got videos to send you then, man. So, but let's talk about the last couple tours you guys have done. So the first one after we
Yeah.
connected was with Floor Space. That was
Mm,
what, 7, 8 run show or 8 run
I
tour?
think it was maybe for us travel wise, a total of less than 14 days.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There were some days off in between. Um, and we have known Charlie for a very long time. He is an incredible person, and Floor Space is just so much fun. Perfect band to be playing like house shows and basement shows. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Mahal's.
Nope.
No, okay. It's in the Cleveland's like DIY kind of um, scene. They do bigger shows and that kind of stuff, but they have an apartment, and
Oh, cool.
it fits maybe like 75, 100 kids if you're trying to break some fire codes. But we played so many of those types of venues on that run, and it just felt so good just to kind of get out there and kind of party. Yeah,
Dude,
it
that's
was so
awesome.
much fun. We had some spots that we were familiar with. We got to see a lot of people that we hadn't seen in a long time. I really had a really good time on that. We spent a day in Tulsa where we were in a hotel and there was a storm happening, and I saw a metal pole lean because of the storm. There's too many stories about that. They introduced us to a scavenger hunt, a tour scavenger hunt. They printed out
Oh, dope.
this like 2-page long, 3-page long scavenger hunt and handed it to us on like the first day of tour. And they were like, "This is worth some points. You don't earn anything except for bragging rights in the end, but good luck. Here you go."
That's
Um,
cool.
and dude, it was stupid stuff like climb a billboard and like do an ollie or like cover a Blink song. But like I think those kinds of things made us so much closer,
Yeah.
as tour
Sure.
mates. It was really cool. That tour was awesome. Now that you bring it up, I'm just having all these kind of memories flood
Right.
to us. But I don't know if you have any specific questions about it.
Well, what I wanted to ask you is because so that was a run that was a little bit smaller. Like you said, you guys played an apartment show and things like that. You guys
Hmm.
just got done with calling all captains. The venues were maybe a little bit bigger, the crowds were a little bit bigger. So like this is like a 6 month gap.
Mm.
Compare the
It
two.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the Calling All Captains tour was frankly the best tour we've ever done. It felt, I keep using this word, validating. There were
Mhm.
people like waiting outside and there are lines and there are people wanting to take photos with us and who were singing along to every word. Um, it felt legitimate. We had passes. Not to say the other tours we haven't been legitimate, and we've obviously played some really really neat shows. And the Floor Space tour was awesome. I have so many great memories from it. But when you think about like, in small ways, it reminded me of what it must have been like for bands like Transit and Mano, and back in like 2010 when they're hanging out with another band they actually really fuck with. They really enjoy everybody.
Yeah.
And they're playing good shows where kids are coming out and they're dancing and they're moshing and they're crowd surfing and they're buying merch and they're supporting and they're telling your friends about it and they're getting done and they're like, damn, you should have been here and that kind of stuff. Like, it was wild. To say that it went beyond our expectations, it's kind of an understatement.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we were
So,
really happy to do it, if that's not obvious.
of course, how did you guys get hooked up with Calling All Captains? How did that tour come together?
So we did a tour with them back in 2022. We did a tour with them in 2022, the last time they came to the US. And they were having plans of coming back, and we were one of the first bands they asked.
Nice.
To be honest, I was a little shocked that like the first day we got to the tour, we were like mates immediately again. Like, we saw each other and it was immediately bros, and we're slapping each other's backs and we're catching up and we're having like gut laughs, and the good vibes are just completely there. They had told us that they were so excited for our leg of the tour, and that they were just excited to hang out with us again. And you know, dude, it really felt like a friendship, and it kind of felt like it reinstated something that I kind of forgot about. So it was really good to see the difference between those 2 years. We had both grown as bands.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like the package just looked really appealing. People love Calling All Captains. I love them. They're awesome. You throw a little Goalkeeper spice in there. Why would you not come out to that show?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I would say some of the best Goalkeeper shows that we've had were on that tour. Now I'm thinking back, and the Philly show was insane. Like, it was it was oversold. Talking about fire codes, we definitely broke them there.
Nice.
Boston was another notable one. Insane, really cool venue. It had a bar and it had an entrance, but the venue itself, where like everybody rocked out, was separated, and you put like damn near 200 people in that room or whatever it was. It was insane. And just to feel the love from the other fans who don't know us, right? Because you're the direct support, you're not the actual headliner. And to ask every night, like, hey, who has heard of us? And it's a fraction of the crowd, like a good fraction. It's insane. So I know I went on a little bit of a tangent about it, but it was an amazing tour, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. We might, who knows? Hit some
Nice.
different spots, but yeah, it was sick. I think back to it very often when I'm at home now and I go to work and I ask people if they want lettuce, tomato, onions on their sub. So,
What was the best stop of the show or of the tour?
man, it is a
We put you on the
contest.
spot.
Yeah, I would say there's probably three, right? So Philly comes to mind immediately, only because it's a home turf for us. We have done basically the exact same show with Captains in Philly before, but we got to see our growth. It was measurable and it was really cool. And now that I'm thinking about it, that was probably number one, Philly. But other close contenders was Toronto. We played
Okay.
Lee's Palace. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's in the movie Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh,
One of the
sick.
one of the evil exes that Scott has to fight that happens in that room. But I remember I didn't realize, I've seen the movie before, but I didn't realize what it was, and I rewatched it with my girlfriend. And as soon as it popped up, I was like, "Oh,
That was it.
yeah, that was it." And sorry, I got a notification and it distracted me for half a
You're good.
second.
You're good.
I have ADHD; it's real hard to keep track sometimes. And then thirdly, I'd have to say that Boston show, just to see how many people were it just like couldn't take their eyes off us. Like they thought that Goalkeeper was popping. We were the thing that night. It felt really, really cool. So I would have to say Philly, Toronto, Boston.
Sick.
That's awesome. Yeah. So who else was on that tour? Because was it just
Yes.
you? Was it just you two that were the actual touring bands, and you had
On that leg.
Okay.
Yeah. So they had done some dates out on the West Coast. with a band called Good Terms. If you're not familiar with them, they are sick. You should check them out, and they have riffs for days. Like, they riff, bro. They riff. And they also did, I think, a date or two with Mike and the Fro? I can't remember exactly. It's on the lamb that I should know, but I don't. And then the rest was us. And then every day, like that we were on tour, you had locals who filled in. And honestly, it was a lot of homies. Like Pittsburgh. Oh my God, I forgot Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was probably one of the top too. We played with a band called Mallory Run and Old Neon. And these two bands, they're awesome. And we've known them for years. And I'm happy they were on the show. Nothing in particular comes to mind past that, but I'm sure I could think of some if I had to.
No worries.
No, yeah,
I was about to say, I don't think you guys are putting me on the spot.
No,
yeah,
you're good.
I didn't know. Yeah, I saw like a ton of clips from you guys and Calling All Captains because I think we follow them on social media too.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
all the shows just looked awesome.
They were insane. It was very awesome to be a part of.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
We also had Luke from Calling All Captains coming up every night during Black Hole. He would come in during the bridge, and he would join Ryan up on stage, which was awesome in the first place to see because I love Luke's voice.
Yeah.
But also, it's a new song for us, and just to see the people's reaction to when Luke got on stage, they're like, "Oh wait, wow, the band that I'm here for, that singer's up here now."
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Also, just a shout out to our photographer Bill Cardella. He got up on stage with Calling All Captains every night, and he did some screams. Well, not every night, but he got up there and he did some screams with them. And it just made the whole thing feel like family and like a cohesive unit. You know, I miss it when I think back to it.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool. I'm super stoked that you guys got to do that because when we were talking about you guys back in, I think it was January that we dropped the episode where we were just talking about Goalkeeper in general, is we said they need to get on a bigger tour. Like someone needs to take these guys out. So I'm super stoked that you guys were able to grab it and get pulled. And I expect that it's going to happen again. And maybe, you can share some news with us, but
well, you know what? I would definitely not say no. If they asked me to go, I don't know, like the West Coast or somewhere else, I don't really know where exactly, but if they asked me to do it again, I would.
I don't think that we would be opposed to catching Goalkeeper in Texas or in Utah. So
yeah.
I don't know.
You know what? Actually, I do miss Texas. Texas has been very nice to us. I think actually, I was looking at my Facebook memories 2 years ago. We were in, I want to say Denton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that venue's still there, so
maybe.
So
it might be.
While you guys were on tour, one of the things that you guys were doing, and you got another rank for you, but you were doing the bathroom sessions for Black Hole.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as you said you were doing something, I was like, this one. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I totally understand.
Best and worst bathrooms for the bathroom sessions of Black Hole.
I would say the best was Rochester, New York at the Bug Jar. We had our friends in Millington with us, so they decided to jump in, and we literally had a whole ska band, all of Goalkeeper, and a few fans in this bathroom, which was insane to see all these people filing into the bathroom all at once, which nobody said anything about. So shout out Bug Jar for not giving, and then we filmed this video, and then like all these people walk out at the same time. So it was a ridiculous time. And the video looks so cool. We did one in, what is it? Virginia Beach. Yes, Virginia Beach. Chesapeake. Chesapeake, that was it. Love the venue, but particularly I was not part of a lot of them because you don't really need a drummer in those videos, and if you don't need an extra spot in that bathroom, that's fine with me. That one right there, I was happy not to be a part of. I'm not going to talk any words. If you want to go check it out, go to the page. You can find the one, I promise. It's just not for me.
I was going to say, like, growing up, bathrooms these days, they're not usually terrible, but growing up, you went into the bathroom in like worst case situation kind of thing. They were gnarly.
Yeah.
To this day, I still don't know that I fully trust a clean bathroom in a venue.
You know what? There are just some auras, that give off in some bathrooms, and that's the ones you can't trust. But I think once you get around to enough of them, you kind of understand. It's strange. I feel like so many bathrooms and venues don't have like doors. Maybe it's just like that. You know what I mean? You ever been in one of those where?
Oh, doors that lock, dude. Like,
or
I was going to the bathroom and somebody walked in, and I was like, "Hey, man, there's room for two if you want it."
Oh, yeah, dude. So I think that's one of the funnier things. It's like, Goalkeeper? Yeah, the DIY bathroom band. Yeah, I got home and some people from work were like, "So you guys were like doing concerts in the bathroom?" I was like, "No, I'm not even playing drums. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, that was the venue. We got like the whole 12 people in there. So
you look at it, there was one we did in Detroit. For some reason in the bathroom, they did look like they had stage lighting, and we did like a little crowd surfer that time, so it was pretty convincing. That was one of the instances my coworkers brought up. They were like, "No, I did see," and I was like, "So, you know what? It's funny what hits, but what hits? It's the algorithm."
There you go. So I was watching one of your guys' full sets. I don't remember when it was from, but I was watching it, and you have to be one of the happiest drummers I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Is this like a conscious effort, or is it just that's just you? You're just so happy to be there.
It's a mix of a few things. So I will say it's part being. I am golden retriever energy as it comes, right? I'm a very positive person. I believe in giving out that good energy. It makes it so much easier for people to get into Goalkeeper. So that's one part of it. Another part would be I did see this band. Are you familiar with The Dangerous Summer?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, naturally. They came to near the Philly area once, and they played. And their drummer at the time, Ben Cato, he was smiling the entire time. And I remember I was at an influential age. I was probably like 14 or 15. So like any band you see, obviously you're going to focus on everything you're doing, right? And I remember thinking that night, because I was a drummer and I'm playing shows, and I was like, I kind of look miserable, but this guy is always smiling. I can do that. But I didn't realize that's an option for drummers. So I think that kind of plays into it. And then also it's kind of a breathing technique. I'm doing a lot up there. There's a lot going on, and it takes a lot of stamina. So I think, as stupid as it sounds, like there's more air going in.
Yeah.
Just,
Sure.
So there's a few things going into it. I would say if you had to pie chart it, the biggest half is just me being positive. And I'm really having the time of my life up there playing with those boys. I love Goalkeeper, and I love Ryan and Mark. And then there's some smaller slivers where it's like science or something of me breathing and influence.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. You can tell when bands are up there having fun too. So.
Yeah. Well, I think a rare instance that Goalkeeper has is that as far as bandmates go, we are friends. We're not just people who hop into a van who like put headphones on and listen to 4 different things, and then we get to the venue and we just kind of like do our thing. We're a unit. Goalkeeper would be so much different if we didn't have one part of us, So that is unique. It's not unique to us, but I feel like it probably doesn't happen with every band. So I definitely don't take it for granted.
Yeah. That's awesome.
No, it's really cool. You guys just announced the 6th annual Punkmas.
Yes. Thank you for bringing this up. I appreciate that. What are your questions?
My questions are: this is 6. You guys have only been a band for 7, so like,
yeah,
how has this developed over the last 6 years?
Mark has a serious obsession with Christmas and the holiday season, and he, I guess, growing up, it's been a large deal to him. So I'm not particularly a Christmas holiday person, but goddamn, Mark is. And he's on a lot of booking. So over the years, we just kind of built it up. Last year we did it at the church with driveways, and it was probably one of the best goalkeeper shows of all time. So obviously keep the tradition going. We're doing it this year at the Yuki Club with us, Millington, Sunday morning, my cousin's girlfriend's house. Um, I think each one of those bands over the years has just been like rock solid, and they've grown and they've been huge supporters of Goalkeeper, and we love the people and the guys in the band. Um, so the bill just makes so much sense to us, and we're trying to do it special. We're trying to make we want to make sure that this show feels celebratory, and we're putting a little extra effort in some things. So
Cool.
I'm excited for it. It is going to be the last Goalkeeper show of the year, and then we just get to focus on some writing.
Yeah.
So it happens December 7th. It's a Friday, and it's at the Yuki Club, and you should buy your ticket if you're listening to this and this goes out before then.
Oh,
like,
it will.
obviously, like, go support Goalkeeper because, again, huge fans. But also, we need to support modern ska bands. And Millington is
Yes.
awesome. Let's keep ska going, please.
That's
Trevor,
right.
go away. Keep
have
ska going.
Have you heard Radio, their new song?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome, right?
It is awesome.
Yeah, sick guys. Spoiler alert: we are trying to get Millington to do. We're playing Chances. It's part of the set list. They love that song, and they want to do the horns to the leads. So
awesome.
Yeah, like I said, we're trying to make it an event. We're trying to make some fun things happen. So get your ass there. Skank a little bit, right?
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a lost art these days.
This guy likes ska.
I do like ska.
Yes, he does.
I'm a ska fan. Always have been. Always will be. And Trevor is not. And it's a point of contention between us.
Yeah. You know what? Mustard plug forever. Fuck you, guy.
Yeah,
right?
Dude,
Listen, I'm not a ska hater. Like I just haven't gotten like deep into the current modern ska. I'm a very radio ska guy. Give me some Less Than Jake. Give me some Real Big Fish. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
This guy likes the impressions that I get because of Step Brothers, and you know it.
Yeah.
Oh man,
turn them on some of the other like modern ska that's less
based. I will say, I hate to say it. I enjoy ska, but like, there's none that really come to mind that I listen to actively other than Millington. Mark and Ryan are really into it. Like they love Catbite, Kill Lincoln. Yeah, We Are the Union.
Yeah.
Right.
They play a lot with like Joystick, Bad Operation, like all those.
Yeah. Jur.
JR, yeah. It stands for something, but I can't remember what it stands for.
These are just some names that I've seen. And also it's like kind of, I don't want to say festcore, right? But you guys are familiar with Fest?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I feel like, we didn't play Fest this year, and I saw all the people posting about it, and it broke my heart. And I was like, oh my God, Goalkeeper should be there right now.
You guys may not have played that one, but you did play 2 festivals this year, which were a big deal. So it was Four Chord and Shoreline, right? Dude, how was Four Chord?
Four Chord was an animal, I tell you what. We've never played a stage that big. So you get up there and you try and you try and realize like there's something different that you're going into. So we had our nerves with us, but I think once we got into the songs and we started, realizing this is just another show, it was fine. But I would say, like, to be honest, it was intimidating to get on a stage that big. And just never done it. Right. I feel like now that we have, the next one will be easier, and then the next one after that will be even easier, and it's gonna be like nothing, right? But it's very much going from like 8th grade to the high school, right?
Yeah.
That jump, and you're like, "Fuck, this is big," right?
Did you miss the like intimacy though of?
Nah. See, like, so I hear that a lot, but there's just they are 2 different things, but you gotta love them for different reasons, right? I feel like when you play a festival like that, you play the hits, you jam out, you rock out, you get done, and then you enjoy everybody else that goes on. Like, for instance, when we were done, I got to watch Reliant K, and they're one of the reasons that I ended up listening to pop punk and having the drumming style I do. So I got to sit backstage and watch the Lion King. That was
Cool.
wonderful for me. Ryan had a similar experience with Motion City Soundtrack, and one of Mark's favorite bands of all time is 4 Years Strong. So to be a part of that is crazy, and it was wonderful, and we were very happy to do it. And I don't know if you know this or not, but Rishi Ball, who runs Four Chord Fest, he's part of a band called Eternal Boy. Not one of, the very first show Goalkeeper ever played was an Eternal Boy show in Philadelphia. And the Eternal Boy and Rishi Ball has been running in Goalkeeper's blood since they won Div 1. It's so funny that we were finally here and we got to play Four Chord. So for a lot of reasons, it meant a lot to us.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Mhm.
I get to catch 4 Year tomorrow. So
No kidding.
I'm on the way out to see those guys.
Hey, throw down for me.
Absolutely. I freaking love 4 Year Strong. I see them every time they come through. So
Yeah, dude, they're a
Yeah, I'm
sick
going.
band.
I'm going on the 20th.
They have literally stretched that guitar to its like breaking point, and I don't know how they do it.
they are so technical in the way that they do things, and their last release is incredible. If you
Well,
listen to
you know
that
what?
one.
Yeah. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I think it's
Just
even
making
more than
sure.
just technical. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yes, didn't mean to sound too aggressive there, but it's just so good. How could you not? I think it's more than just technical. It's like this new kind of like, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Right? You know, we are this easy core band that does all these crazy things. You're expecting some crazy riffs, but like I think they decided to flip it on its head, and they were like, let's write something that kind of leans in that hardcore direction that they probably have already had in their back pocket for years, and they're like, we're ready to kick ass to this. We're so ready.
Yeah.
And I think they really sat down this time and they were just like, how do we do something that's still in the vein of 4 Years Strong, but feels like we're pushing this thing? And I feel like they probably broke a guitar or two recording this record. It's
Probably.
awesome.
Oh, I'm sure.
Dude,
Yeah.
that first song,
An afterthought?
Afterthought, Aftermath,
Yeah.
breakdown in that song. Like I told my wife when I go see him on the 20th, I was like, I'm gonna get kicked out. Like you better just like be ready with the car because like
Yeah.
I don't think I'm making it through that whole song.
Yeah,
emotionally.
that's sick.
So,
Yeah,
it's
that's
gonna be
awesome.
wild. Yeah, it's a great album. So
Yeah.
You
And
know-
to circle back really quick about Shoreline,
Yeah.
that was equally as great as Four Chord did, but it just felt like a different scale, kind of like we were talking about big shows to small shows.
yeah,
Felt like we saw a lot of homies. I love TJ who ran it. We played the beer racks many times, so going back there, it felt kind of just like a familiar space. And also we got to see some bands we haven't seen in a long time. Young Culture headlined it, and Future Teens was also a co-headliner. And there were some of the favorite bands that I listened to. So both those festivals were awesome. We were very happy to be part of them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you guys have the holiday show recording in January. EP again? Full length again? What are we working on this go around?
No, I can't. I'm not gonna spill the beans too far. I think if Mark or Ryan heard, just expect new music. Absolutely, and it's gonna be coming around a lot more frequently.
Awesome. That's incredible. So
It's always good news.
yeah.
absolutely. Well, listen, we seriously appreciate you joining us. I mean, Ryan's on to bigger and better things, being on Mike from
Yeah.
MX podcast, like
Yeah.
what's real.
You know
Like,
what?
this is the
Actually,
real shit, right?
these are the conversations that matter here, boys. This is the app session they want.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
I've been on here twice. Ryan's been on there twice.
Where's Mark? What's
That's
Mark
what
doing?
I'm saying, right?
What's Mark doing?
He's sitting back, probably drinking a Yingling, having the time of his life.
He's just laughing.
Yeah, ha ha, my bandmates.
Cody's got to talk to these idiots.
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
He
Mark will
really-
do this thing.
He listened to an episode and he was like, "Oh, my wife's coming home."
He was like, "Yeah, my sister's in-laws, brother's uncle's girlfriend is having a graduation in November. It's crazy, I know.
I've got a plan ahead, so
Can't miss it. Can't miss it." Yeah.
But dude, seriously, we do appreciate you. We're stoked that we have you back again. Again, Pins and Needles is absolutely fantastic. Like, anyone who hasn't listened to it yet, definitely go and check it out. Catch these guys on Saturday, December 7th at Uki. Is that how you say it? Uki Club?
Yuki.
Yuki
Yeah,
Club.
you got it.
You can tell we're West Coast. So
Trevor he learned to read like 2 years ago. So
I'm still working on it.
yeah.
Listen, we all have our struggles, all right?
Mhm.
So, but seriously, Cody, thank you so much. Kyle, anything else from you?
Nah, I mean, you're welcome here anytime, man. Huge fans of you, huge fans of the band. I mean, I know I said it tongue in cheek before, but pumped for new music. Can't get enough of it. And yeah, man, like you came to Tulsa. It's just a couple more hours down to Dallas.
Yeah, right?
So,
Yeah.
you know.
Just a couple. Who cares?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Just a little trip.
I know the barbecue spots. I'll hook you guys up. Like,
hey, now you have my attention that you talked about barbecue.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, let's make this the hat trick. Let's do it again.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
We'll get you in January with the new music. So
hey, there you go.
There you go. Cool, man. Thanks for taking the time.
No problem.
Peace.